Right now at 6 o'clock, what to do about Gaza? That caused a heated town debate in Hamden, one that stretched all the way into this morning.
And jury selection begins today for a state trooper who shot and killed a teenager 4 years ago. We're live at the courthouse where the victim's family is expected to speak this morning.
Also, a new report raises questions about how the Department of Children and Families operates. We'll share how the agency is responding this morning.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good Wednesday morning. Thanks so much for joining us here at 6 on Fox 61 and Fox 61 Plus America areas.
And I'm Tim Lammers. Good morning. Starting with the forecast here on this Wednesday as we get over to meteorologist Matt Scott after a couple of days off. Welcome back, sir.
Good morning. Nice
morning.
to be back. Took a few days off just to recharge the old batteries.
Yep.
And back to a forecast that really doesn't need me recharging. It's actually kind of fine. A little chilly out there right now. Temperatures in the teens for many of you, but it's back to mild numbers later on this afternoon. End of the week, it looks a little wet, maybe even a little white. We'll talk about that coming up. Satellite radar pictures fairly quiet across the board. Clear skies allowing temperatures to drop this morning. 19 degrees is what we have in Hartford, 20 in New Haven. Those are fairly seasonal numbers, but we're down to 16 on Holy Hill and Waterbury, 11 degrees right now in Dorrington, and we have a dozen on the Frog Bridge in Willimantic. On the way up to 40, that is just a little bit, well, later on this afternoon, we get into the lower 40s. That'll be a little bit above normal today. Not too bad, and really not too much to worry about. Talk about that end of the week special, see how it plays into the weekend, because it does. Talk about that coming up. 6:01, let's go to the roads. Good morning, Symphony Privet.
Hey, good morning to you. Hope you're having a good one so far. If you are heading out the door, some good news, we are accident free so far. However, we are seeing a couple of construction projects. There's some road work being done on Route 2 out in East Hartford, also Route 9 out in Cromwell. So be sure to look out for those workers as you hit the road this morning. Taking a live look in the capital city. I-91 near the Jennings Road exit. We are seeing traffic volume starting to pick up out there. Quick look at the drive times. Should be smooth sailing for you on 91 and 84 in the 6 o'clock hour. Also down in New Haven, looking good out there. Minor delay reported on 95 South heading to Bridgeport. You'll get there in just under 30 minutes. We have your next update coming up at 6:30.
Okay, well, Symphony, thank you so much. Our top story here, we got a Fox 61 follow-up. Local officials showed some support for a ceasefire in Gaza. Now, we told you yesterday morning that Hamden's Legislative Council was set to vote on a symbolic resolution.
Yeah, people in the community had a lot to say about it. First, they rallied outside Memorial Town Hall, and then when the meeting took place, they took turns speaking during a public comment session. Now, that stretched into this morning. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin has been following the local ceasefire calls for weeks, and she's joining us right now in Hampton. So, Brooke, did the council ever vote on the resolution?
No, they actually didn't. They never even got to that point. They did let everybody speak, but that took about 4 hours to even get to that point. They ended up going into recess around 12:30 this morning. So that is something that is likely going to continue, but they never even got to the voting part of that resolution and of that agenda item. The Hamden Legislative Council is the fourth Connecticut community to propose a symbolic ceasefire resolution. They're joining Windsor, New Haven, and Bridgeport in that effort. Last night, a rally was held before the meeting with dozens of people in attendance, causing the meeting to begin about an hour late. It was supposed to start at 7. It actually started around 8 o'clock. Those people packed into the council chambers as the meeting started. The public comment to discuss the ceasefire resolution quickly began, but continued for more than 4 hours until it ended up getting shut down. Those comments got heated and even interrupted at times as people both for and against that agenda item spoke up.
If the supporters of this resolution really cared about Palestinians, they would recognize how Hamas hijacked. I want to speak.
And as you can hear, people did get pretty loud there, and at times they were able to actually speak and share their opinion on the issue, but there was a large divide on people who do and do not support the resolution.
We need to have all hands on deck. We need to be working at the federal level, the state level, the local level, the community level, in our homes, in our families, to educate each other on what's going on and to discuss this.
And it is offensive, it is one-sided, and all it does, it doesn't do anything to help bring peace in the Middle East. All this does is divide this community.
And again, we did not end up hearing any sort of vote happening last night. That never ended up happening here at that Hamden Town Council meeting. It is something, however, that could show back up on next Monday's meeting agenda. Every fourth Monday of the month is set aside here in Town Council to discuss any sort of issues or really any further business that did not get finished earlier in the month. So we could see this resolution brought back up on Monday. We will follow that and let you know what ends up happening or if they do plan to do that. Live in Hamden, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Brooke, thanks so much for the update there. Well, 6:05 and jury selection is set to begin this morning for the trial of a Connecticut state trooper who shot and killed a 19-year-old man in 2020.
Yeah, this case is the first time in 17 years that a Connecticut police officer was arrested following a deadly shooting that happened on duty. And Fox 61's been following this case since the beginning. So let's get out to Angelo Bavaro. He's live outside the courthouse in Milford with more. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. And State Trooper Brian North is facing a first-degree manslaughter charge. He has pleaded not guilty in this case. His legal team expected to argue inside this courthouse that North was protecting his fellow officers, but the legal team of that family for that 19-year-old Mubarak Soliman argues that this was an execution. Now take a look. This is police body camera footage and also dash cam footage from that night back in January of 2020. According to police, Soliman had stolen a car and led officers on a high-speed chase on I-95. Soliman crashed that car in West Haven, and that's where North fired 7 shots into the driver's window at close range. Now, North told investigators he fired because Soliman had a knife and was, quote, moving and holding that knife in an aggressive manner. North also said it appeared to him Soliman was preparing to attack the other officers on scene. However, Inspector General Robert Devlin, whose office investigates all uses of deadly force by police, concluded that this shooting was not justified. In his 133-page report, Devlin wrote, quote, "At the time Trooper North fired his weapon, neither he nor any other person was in imminent danger of serious injury or death from a knife attack at the hands of Soliman, and any belief that persons were in such danger was not reasonable." Now, over the past few years, we have heard from the Soliman family members and lawyers, as well as the police union, speaking in defense of North.
That's always the most difficult thing for any police officer out there. To make those split-second decisions, and you know, when we feel that the decision was justified and done according to our training, we're in support of our members that get involved in these situations.
Brian North has to be held accountable for killing my son.
After being charged back in 2022, North was placed on paid administrative leave and his police powers were suspended. Now, we are expecting to hear from the Soliman family right here outside the courthouse just before that jury selection is expected to begin. Of course, we'll bring you those updates as we get them. We are live in Milford this morning. I'm Angelo Bavaro, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Angelo, thank you for that report. All right, it's 6:08 on this Wednesday. A Stamford police officer is due in court today after he hit and killed a pastor while responding to a call. Officer Zachary Lockwood has been charged with misconduct with a motor vehicle. He's accused of driving 20 miles an hour over the speed limit when he hit Reverend Tommy Jackson. This was on Wire Mill Road in Stamford back in July. State police said Lockwood was responding to an unrelated car crash at the time. Reverend Jackson was a pastor at the Rehoboth Fellowship Church in Stamford. Today, prosecutors will begin wrapping up their case in the Michelle Troconis trial. They're trying to prove that she conspired with her boyfriend, Fotis Doulos, to murder Fotis's wife, Jennifer. And as their last witness, they're expected to call Jennifer's mother to the stand. Yesterday, they showed jurors the final interview between police and Troconis. Investigators said she changed her story over the course of 3 interviews with investigators. And in the last video, Troconis told police that Fotis told her what to write down as a timeline of their actions on the same day Jennifer was last seen. Connecticut's news station will continue covering this trial on Fox 61 Plus and streaming the testimony live. We'll also have a recap on air and online.
A new report about the death of an infant in New Haven is once again raising questions about how the Department of Children and Families operates. 10-month-old Marcello Meadows died in June from a fentanyl overdose. The Office of the Child Advocate investigated the death. Officials say DCF knew the infant's mother, Alexandra Polino, was a drug user with a history of drug-related arrests. And despite that, DCF said the home was safe for the infant 3 weeks before he died. The Office of the Child Advocate knows that this is the third report in the past year about the death of a child who was under active or recent DCF supervision. 2 of those children died from a drug overdose. The office issued a 26-page report complete with recommendations for DCF to improve its case management. Now, we reached out to DCF for a response to the report. The acting commissioner sent us a long statement outlining the steps it has taken to address child safety. Part of it reads, focusing our efforts on the high-risk nature of 0 through 5 population is a priority in my administration, as are continued community partnerships. DCF is in frequent communication with OCA and will remain committed to collaborating with the OCA on our shared mission of supporting and improving the safety and well-being of the children and families we collectively serve.